A brand new set and a YCS have concluded, so let's take a look at the market. Hey guys, Otaker back with another Market Watch, and today we're going to be looking at the fallout of not only the Alliance Insight official release, but also the YCS Providence results. Before we do jump on into the Market Watch, I do want to officially announce and congratulate Ace of Spades for winning the Maliss core giveaway that we have been doing all of the month of April. And to the rest of those that participated, I want to let you all know that I greatly appreciate all the support you showed me here on the channel, but also welcome all the new faces that came along the way. I definitely enjoyed the fact that I was able to at least give back to at least one member of the community, so I'm considering doing another form of a giveaway, so let me know in the comments down below what giveaway I should do next, whether it's staples or another deck core. Just let me know. Just keep in mind, funds are not liquid by any means. That is also a very good segue into reminding you all that if you are not currently subscribed to the channel and you like competitive-based content, tier lists, and market watches, consider subscribing to the channel for more. Leave a like on this video, and consider joining my community Discord, following me over on Twitch, and using my TCG affiliate link. All links will be in the description down below. But with that, let's take a look at this shiny cardboard. All right, so we're going to start with some Alliance Insight stuff. Now, Alliance Insight has very specific cards that actually had some form of impact in terms of price wise. We could look at like all of it, like the Dragon Rulers and all that, because the Dragon Rulers also are like $5 or more, but we're going to be looking at like the meta impact ones specifically. The first one being March Hare. March Hare was like $60 on pre-release, depending on what site you were looking at. The QCR is still sitting at like $175, but the regular secret rare is approximately $60-65 right now as well. And this is something that a couple of my friends were talking about, that normally like pre-sales do go down, but because Maliss was projected to be one of the best decks, it was projected to be the best deck in the room, even though it did not win YCS Providence, it was not expected that this card would go down in price. And the same goes for the backup Adignister. She was about $20-25 on release, or on pre-release, and she's still sitting at about $20 right now. I think she was like, realistically, depending on what site you were looking at, like I was looking at Cards and Gamer's Choice, both of them were at about 30, so she has come down like a little bit, but for the most part, she's at where we projected her to be. Allied Code Talker went down to like $10. He tanked. Star Ryzeal, speaking of tanking, really fucking tanked. This card on pre-release was like $45-50. He's $5 now. I was incredibly surprised because when I was at my regional in Bainbridge, Georgia this past weekend, as of recording this video, I was trying to pick up some Star Ryzeals with the expectation I was going to be paying like $20 or something, and then I looked him up and I was like, oh, he's $5. Okay, that's cheap as hell. And it's mainly just because he is kind of a one of, maybe a two of, depending on your build. And he wasn't really making a huge difference for Ryzeal. And I think that's the big thing, is like Star Ryzeal, based on how the ban list turned out for Ryzeal specifically, like Star Ryzeal isn't doing anything for the deck that heavily changes the game plan. Because duo, like, sure, this pretty much protects the duo drive from getting, ashed, because you can just summon this and then make duo drive, but this also sets the cross, so that way you have like that blanket protection. But overall, like, this, I would not have paid $30-40 for this card, so I'm glad that it tanked, because this card is a good card, I will not deny that, but it was not $30-40 good, in my opinion. So I'm glad to see this is like a $5 card, which further just proves that pure Ryzeal, like a Ryzeal engine, pretty cheap. Like, you can buy a whole Ryzeal core for probably like $50-60. Like, it's really cheap right now. Moving on to the topic of YCS Providence. I tried to tell you on the last Market Watch video, AI Meet You was a card that was on Maliss players' radar, and sure enough, like the top Maliss decks in top 32 were playing it in some way, shape, or form, whether it was in their side or their main. This card was seeing play. Now, there is a common version, it's like 20 cents, but if you want that high rarity ultra rare, this card, I mean, this guy's at 25 cents, but this card is making its way up to $1 right now. This card, when we last talked about it, was like 50 cents. I picked up myself like 15 to 20 copies of this card, and I only paid 50 cents. So already my profit is doubled. So we're sitting pretty clean right now. So if you don't have this card and you're playing Maliss, I would recommend picking it up now. Again, there is a common. It's like 20 cents. So if you don't care if you have the highest rarity or not, then, you know, pick up the common. Don't, you know, don't break the bank for this $1 card. Still on the topic of Maliss, Maliss is really kind of revolutionizing the market right now. Even though the other decks in the format are doing better in terms of results, the other decks are cheaper. But Maliss is very much still pulling the weight of the market. So we have Lingeribo, has a super rare and an ultra rare. The super rare is also going up in price. Super rare, I think when we last talked about it, was like 50 cents. It is up to almost $2, but the big one is the ultra rare, which is at $10 and only 25 listings. He is getting bought out. And the reason for this is that Lingeribo is getting ran at 2 copies because they use one in the mainline combo and then they try to end on it sometimes, but they also use it for like the grind game, but they also may lead with it. And then later in the combo, when they summon Wicked, they're going to want to summon this under Wicked to avoid imperm on Wicked. Just overall, like, this is getting ran at 2 in most builds. I'm not personally running it because I'm running transcode still, but I might end up moving to a second copy, but I already have my 2 copies. So, but this card's getting pricey. Again, if you want to run this card, you don't care about rarity, you can still run the super rare. The super rare is about $2 right now, so he is also spiking. If you want Lingeribo and you don't care about rarity, I would recommend picking up the super rare now, because if Maliss starts seeing major results, like winning a YCS one of these fucking days, then the super rare might jump up to, like, I don't know, $5. Still on the topic of Maliss, we saw at YCS Providence Topologic Bomber Dragon getting played. A lot of the pro players are saying that this is a better option than Allied Code. People are saying that Allied Code is a win more card, whereas Topologic Bomber Dragon is a suitable answer, and also it's an answer to Chaos Hunter. I don't agree with the second part. Anytime that they could have just outed Chaos Hunter and they summoned this, they could have just made Nightmare Cerberus and kept playing. But is what it is. The main thing is, like, they get locked. You do get locked into Cyberse at a lot of choke points in the Maliss deck, so the Bomber Dragon is Cyberse, so you can still go into it, and that it is still a boss monster. I think it's going to come down to personal preference. As we saw at YCS Providence, there were a lot of people that topped that some were saying, oh, Bomber Dragon's the way to go. Some were saying Allied Code is the way to go. I think it's just going to come down to personal preference, what you're trying to do. But overall, I think Bomber Dragon's fine, but this card is getting bought out. So the Code of the Duelist Secret Rare is spiking. It's at 7 listings. You are going to be paying $16 for the Secret Rare from Code of the Duelist. And then the Secret Rare from the Megatins is also getting bought out, which is still at like $5-8-ish. If you only care about Secret Rare, you don't care about set, then this is probably the one you want to pick up. But if you don't care about rarity at all, it was reprinted in Crossover Breakers. It's a rare. It's 10 cents. Like, just buy 1 pack of Crossover Breakers. You'll probably pull it. Next is Mitsurugi. Mitsurugi won YCS Providence. I believe this is Mitsurugi's first YCS win, I think. I could be wrong. But it also, pure Mitsurugi got into the semifinals, if I'm correct. And we already talked about this a little bit, but Mitsurugi Ritual is seeing increase in price because of Mitsurugi's support. But now that it's actually putting up results still, this card is actually very slowly starting to increase even more. It was at $30 when we last talked about it. It's looking at about $35 now. Still on the topic of Mitsurugi is Ame no Murakumo no Mitsurugi, the old Ame, the one that I'm still calling Ame, and I call the other guy by his actual name. Ame was $8 when we last talked about it. Well, he is getting bought out, and he is making his way up to the $10-15 mark. If you want to play Mitsurugi, buy this card now because he's getting bought out. And because he's an ultra rare, his listings probably won't repopulate very quickly. This is a minimum 2 of in the deck, I believe. It is the best card in the deck, arguably. He is very quickly going up, as you can see. So now is the time to pick this up. I thankfully have 4 copies of this. And I probably won't even be playing Mitsurugi. Who knows? On the last topic of the Mitsurugi is pre-preparation of rights. The QCR specifically. This card got reprinted in Rarity Collection 1 under 1,000 different rarities. So there are 1,000 cheap options. But if you are looking for that max rarity, then this card is getting bought out. It's at about $30-ish, give or take, for the max rarity QCR, and Mitsurugi Pure is running this because Mirror does mention all of the ritual names, all the ritual monster names. So you can add Futsu, you can add Ame, you can add the new Ame that I'm all of a sudden forgetting his name, Habakiri, I believe. So if you want to run max rarity pre-prep, you're going to be forking over a pretty penny for sure. On to Live Twins, though. Live Twins actually is putting up good results. I tried to tell y'all in the tier list I uploaded last week that the Live Twin deck is actually like a deck that should be respected. And sure enough, it got top 32, I believe, at YCS Providence. Like, this is a good deck. And because of that, the Live Twin cards are seeing an increase in price. Now, the main ones we want to talk about is going to be the Live Twin Frost and the Evil Twin Lynx. The Kiss-A-Kill from Genesis Impact is seeing a slight spike. The CR obviously seeing a massive spike because it is the max rarity version of it, unless you consider the QCR, which is also seeing a slight spike. But I consider the CR because it's the first luxury rarity of the card, so that is, in my opinion, the highest rarity possible. But the big one here is going to be Frost. Frost did get a super rare in the tins, and that's 50 cents. But if you want the highest rarity available, like the Starlight, you're paying almost $200 for that. But if you want something in the middle, the ultra rare from Lightning Overdrive is $17. And I believe that is because it's getting bought out. No, not really. It's just seeing a spike in price because I believe it is a 2 of in the deck, if I'm correct. And on top of that, it is a Kiss-A-Kill monster, so it can be used to make the Link 1. So it's not just a complete brick like it was in the original Twin deck. So, and then, the Link 1 is a Light Fiend, so then you can go into Fiendsmith combo from there. So it is just like a normal summon, but the Link monsters, the Battles of Legend Crystal Revenge of the Kiss-A-Kill, is up to about $8. The Genesis Impact Ultra Rare is $8. The Collector's Rare is $34. And then we have Lilla, which the Battles of Legend Secret Rare is $3 for her. Ultra Rare is about $3-4 for her. The Collector's Rare is another $32 for her. Treat isn't seeing an increase because she's not getting played in the deck. Lilla, the super rare, not really seeing a spike, but the CR is seeing a $36 spike for sure. Overall, the Twins are still like fairly cheap because a lot of these cards you're not playing in multiple quantities, and on top of that, the main deck ones were for the most part reprinted in lower rarities. Like Frost has a super rare that's 50 cents. Kiss-A-Kill was reprinted in a bunch of rarities, so you can get her in many different cheap rarities. Lilla super rare from Genesis Impact is still 50 cents. The money is going to primarily be in the Fiendsmith engine that you're playing in it, the new cards, which one of them is a super rare, so that'll be cheap, and the Link monsters are kind of expensive. Like, they're more expensive than they were like 3 weeks ago. We're going to talk about 3 more cards here, all of which pertain to the YCS Providence. One of them is Spell Card Monster Reborn. We didn't see a whole lot of this at Providence, but there were a couple decks that made it into top 32 that were playing this in the side. There was one Maliss player playing it in the main, if I'm correct. Or no, that was the Austrian Nationals that was playing this in the main. It's a good card. And because of that, we are seeing a minor buyout of this card. It is a super rare from Infinite Forbidden. I have a bunch of copies of this card, and it's up to about $254, give or take. This is a pseudo Called by the Grave, essentially, because if you're playing this card, and you're playing like Maliss or playing against Maliss, and they go like GWC, you can go Spell Card Monster Reborn, steal their white binder so they can't bring it back. Problem is, they can just chain Abystial, or they can chain March Hare, and they'll get it anyways. So it's not like it's going to make the world of a difference. I think it's a cool tech. I just don't think there's room for it right now. But if this is something you're looking to get your hands on, you are going to be paying about $6-7 for a play set. So just keep that in mind for sure. But if you opened a lot of Infinite Forbidden, which I'm sure a lot of us did because that was a very good set the year it came out, with the Fiendsmith engine being introduced, then you probably already have a bunch of this card anyways. Borro Code Dragon. Now, I know what you're thinking, Maliss, right? Correct, but Maliss isn't playing it. We are seeing a handful of decks experiment with sending this off of like Nadir Servant because of the graveyard effect. That is, you can banish this card from your graveyard, banish 1 dark monster with 3,000 or more attack from the field, and if you do, special summon topologic monster from your extra deck or graveyard. That last little part, irrelevant. It's this first part. Banish this card from the graveyard, and then banish 1 dark monster with 3k or more attack. Big thing here is it doesn't target, and it doesn't say original attack. So when Allied Code ends up summoning to the field, he ends up being a little over 3k attack. What you can also do, and this is another reason people are considering this, is Ultimate Slayer. Just Ultimate Slayer, target like Red Ransom or White Binder or whatever else is on the board, the Firewall maybe, and then you send this off of Ultimate Slayer. Your opponent can't interact with Ultimate Slayer, so you bounce the Firewall, and then on resolution, you can, on a new chain, not a trigger effect, but ignition effect, banish this from the graveyard, and then it forces your opponent to interact from there. If they want to keep their Allied Code, they're going to have to negate this, obviously. But because this card is seeing experimentation, I don't think we saw it at Providence, but it is seeing experimentation. People are talking about it. It is seeing a slight increase in price. It's about $4 or $5 right now, maybe $6, worst case scenario. I think this is a card that, if you want to play Ultimate Slayer, this is something that is worth picking up just out of consideration. I think that if this card sees more play, if we see Ultimate Slayer see more play going in the future, then this might be something worth picking up now. The problem with YCS Providence is that it is a YCS on the release of Alliance Insight, so the format is still incredibly fresh, meaning that, like, yes, a lot of the pro players have had time to practice for this format, but everything is still trying to get figured out. So I don't think YCS Providence is a good spot to really judge where the format is at currently, simply because the event was on release weekend, and there is still time for the format to settle and get figured out before we truly, like, decide what cards are worth picking up. But I think this is probably a good card to pick up for the just-in-case scenario. And then the last card I want to talk about is Vanquish Soul Rosen. I think we talked about this in the last Market Watch as well, but Rosen is spiking in price. I actually just picked up 3 copies myself, but Rosen's looking at about the $13 to $15 mark. Like, if we go to the Prismatic Secret Rare right now, he is getting bought out, and he's looking at, like, if we don't consider this guy, you know, $16, $15 just for the Prismatic Secret Rare. We go to the Ultra Rare, we're looking at about $20 for the Ultra Rare. I picked up a playset of this for about $50, which was a pretty good deal. On top of that, I picked up like 8 other cards on top of that, so that was a very good deal. Shout out to the guy at the regional who was willing to work with me on pricing and all that. We struck a good deal. But this card is getting pretty pricey, and on top of that, Stake Your Soul is also getting pricey. This is just the Ultra Rare from Wild Survivors. Again, like $18, $20. So Mad Love got reprinted in Stampede. We saw Caesar get reprinted in Stampede. We're seeing Zhao Long get a slight increase in price. He's up to like $5 right now. Heavy Borger is finally getting that increase that I speculated in the last video. He's up to like $15 a copy right now. Rock of the Vanquish or Secret Rare is seeing an increase up to like $15. Funny enough, the Ultimate Rare isn't moving. It's like $20 still, $20, $25. The Prismatic Secret Rare Stake Your Soul from the tins is seeing an increase in price, also up to $20. Like, Vanquish Soul cards are getting bought out because K9 Vanquish Soul is a legit thing and a meta threat in the OCG. If this is a deck you want to play, you're about to be forking over some money if you don't have Vanquish Soul cards, because K9 is obviously going to be pricey because it's going to be the new kid on the block, and Vanquish Soul is a high rarity deck for the most part. Like, most of the deck is high rarity minus the cards that got reprinted in Stampede. My personal thought here with the Vanquish Soul cards is I don't foresee them going down, because Vanquish Soul K9 is actually, like, at least as of this last meta report we saw from the OCG, like the best deck in the format right now over in the OCG. And if it continues to put out results, it's going to only further cope the players that want to play it over here in the TCG until K9 finally comes out. And even then, we got to wait for Duelist Advance for the Vanquish Soul support to come out, because that's the only reason that it got really popular in the OCGs, because the new support that came out in Duelist Advance. But overall, like, Vanquish Soul has always been like a pseudo pricey deck because it was always like kind of high rarity and the reprints were never very generous. But this is a deck I think is a cool deck, and this is something that I picked up Rosen for a reason, because this is a deck that I might be toying with just because I always wanted to play the Vanquish Soul cards. I thought they were always cool, but never had the opportunity to really pick it up in a meta-defining way. But if this is a deck you are interested in, but you best be ready to fork over the dollar. And that's really it for today's Market Watch. A lot has changed. There's plenty of cards I didn't talk about today that I'll probably talk about next week, but let me know in the comments down below what cards you would like to see in the next Market Watch. And also on top of that, don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you like competitive-based content, and also don't forget to join my community Discord, follow me over on Twitch, and use my TCG affiliate link on your next TCG order. But with that, I'll see you all in the next video. See ya!